Hey there friends, how's it going? My name is Lightning8 coming at you with another video. So today we actually got some reveals, well, an interview with Tetsuya Nomura. He's going into some details. It's quite a long interview. I will leave a link in the description so you guys can go read it out. I've just picked a few interesting topics that I personally find is very interesting. I didn't read the whole article, but these are the ones that stood out to me. But yeah, you guys can go check that out and even comment what you think of the other points. But here we go. This is the first question that popped out to me, and it was, Xehanort is such a memorable villain, but now we're going into the Lost Master arc. How do you follow that up and create fresh conflict with the new adversaries? And Nomura basically said, as mentioned, Xehanort is a really memorable character. We did take a lot of time to flesh out his presence, such as in KH1 with Ansem, KH2 with Xemnas, basically these two figures that stem from one person. In the first game we explore just the heart portion. In the second game we explore the physical body. It's all led up to the fully physical embodiment of that character. I really like that we took the slow burn approach to build a character. I feel the presence of the enemy character is so important for them to be a really good character. It gives the story and lots of depth and destiny. I feel like we pulled it off. You kind of did, Nomura. Now we get to the Last Master arc. And now we're moving to the next saga. In the trailer in KH4, we mentioned the Lost Master arc. We're going to be delving into a new enemy figure of the continuation of the story. This new enemy has a lot to do with the masked characters that appear at the end of KH3, of course being the foretellers. So yeah, that's pretty cool. They're going to be obstacles that stand in front of Sora. Also in KH 2.8 we showed what kind of characters they are. So the enemies have already appeared in the series. We'll be reintroducing them, and obviously there will be more new characters as well, but really can't go into detail. So they have appeared in 2.8. I don't know if that is the Phantom, like how this Phantom Aqua, so maybe it's like a Phantom version of Sora and Phantom version of Yozora, or Phantom version of Riku. I don't know, because it's very interesting. I really don't know, because they did appear in 2.8, so you guys are gonna have to do some research on that, or I'll do some research and try and figure it out. But yeah, so it continues on with the interview with this question right here. Do you feel it's important to keep Sora as the main protagonist, or do you ever see the series moving beyond him? And Nomura basically said spin-offs have main characters that are not Sora, but in terms of mainline, I think Sora is the only real candidate for the main character. I think if Sora is no longer the main character, then I would also feel that would indicate that that is the end of the numbered titles. He's that important to the series. I couldn't agree more. I can't imagine a Kingdom Hearts game without Sora. So I completely agree with him on that. So if there is no Sora, there's no Kingdom Hearts mainline. So that's pretty interesting, and actually very true. I can't imagine like a main title KH game without Sora as the main protagonist. So yeah, I completely agree with Nomura on this. But yeah, I think it kind of confirms that Sora will always be the main protagonist of the mainline series, which we already knew. We saw Donald and Goofy in the KH4 reveal, but one question a lot of fans have is how much will Disney still be integrated into the series? Nomura basically said it's gonna still be there, there's nothing to worry about. When he said, I just want to mention that they don't need to worry so much about this aspect of the game. It might feel slightly different from previous KH games, but once you play it, you'll feel like you have been, like it's the magic that you know that goes with Kingdom Hearts. But there is the graphical qualities, since with each new title the specs have really increased. So much more we can do in terms of graphics. It kind of limits the number of worlds we can create in a sense. At this point we're considering how to approach that, but there will be Disney World in KH4. So basically what he's saying that it's most likely we'll have much less worlds, not much less, but like less worlds, but with higher quality and graphics of said world. So like how KH3 didn't have as many worlds as KH2, but they were much bigger, much more open, much more graphically better. So let me know what are your thoughts about that approach in the comments. Would you like more worlds or less worlds but with more quality into them? When did you start working on ideas and planning for KH4, and what things do you know you want to incorporate early on? Whenever I'm working on a title, I'm already thinking about what I want to incorporate in the next one. For example, with KH4, I've already started thinking about what I wanted to do with it while making KH3. This is more in terms of the characters, worlds, or gameplay systems I want to implement. Every time it's the same process. I'm constantly thinking of ways to improve and change the next title. For example, in KH2, we introduced reaction commands. I felt like fans didn't take it too well, and it wasn't that popular, so in KH3 we took that system out. But then fans said, why'd you take that out? So now we're considering bringing it back for KH4. The challenge is with the action gameplay. It's hard to execute the satisfying action moves with the footing isn't very secure. That's something we're working on and hoping we can realize an aspect of the game in KH4. So confirmed that they are trying to bring back reaction commands. We saw that in the trailer. There is some reaction commands there. Pretty cool stuff. So it shows that once he's done with KH4, he's already going to be planning the next Kingdom Hearts game, which is very Nomura. Yeah, that's very Nomura of him, because it is Nomura. So here's a very interesting question that I really do like, and it really got me thinking, which I'm very happy. So the main question is, will we be in Quadratum all the time, or do we have more realistic settings and try new things in the gameplay? And Nomura basically said, I think you'll spend a pretty good amount of the time, since it's the initial basis within the game. You spend time there, then go to different worlds and go back there. And because the graphics are more realistic this time, I feel there's more realistic daily life aspects of Sora. You can see him go in and out of his room and spend time there. I feel like players want to see more of a day-to-day routine with him. As far as the world goes, in the past we featured lots of Disney worlds. Among those more realistic were probably Pirates of the Caribbean. This time around we're spending some time in the actual world. This was a challenge to see how realistic we can make this, and that's something that we're working on right now. We can't dive into detail with that. So the Quadratum thing is very interesting because it'll remind me of KH1 with Traverse Town. So in Traverse Town we went there, went to a couple worlds, went back, did some more worlds and came back, you know, stuff like that. But I think it'll be a much more bigger emphasis, like probably after every world or every 2 worlds will come back. There'll be a major story point happening there, and then we have to go to the next Disneylands. And I think that's a very again, very good way and very interesting aspect that they want Quadratum to feel like this is where you are, this is where most of the game is happening. It's a very good choice, and yeah, I really want to see the day-to-day routine. Maybe walk outside, high-five people, say hi to people, wave. That'd be pretty fun. I would really like that. And then this is a very long thing, so it's basically about Final Fantasy characters. Nomura went into detail about how people were basically saying, oh yeah, Kingdom Hearts is just Disney, a collaboration with Final Fantasy, but Nomura was like, nah, that's not exactly what Kingdom Hearts is. But when we released the first title, we had a few original characters. When we interacting with the really well-known, beloved Disney characters, I felt nobody really knew the new characters, so it was harder for them to stand on the grounds, just yet. And so we had a lot of Final Fantasy characters involved to lend everyone to get know those original characters. Now, of course, this was something we already knew. The Final Fantasy characters were there to somewhat elevate Sora and the gang, so more people will play the game and then recognize and fall in love with these characters and help the characters grow, with Leon being like a wise older brother like character, I guess you could say, in those short scenes with Sora, or like a mentor. And you could say like Cloud was just somebody who was like Riku in a way, or like Sora, but he just lost all hope because he was looking for someone. Yeah, so I feel like those aspects really helped grow Kingdom Hearts to the big video game it is now. And Nomura is basically saying, now there are so many original characters in KH which are so loved, people want to see more of those characters with KH3. Since we did have so many original KH characters, it was hard to find room to include the Final Fantasy characters. We're trying to find a good balance for that. I know some fans were concerned that they weren't too happy and wanted to see more Final Fantasy characters. That's something we're definitely thinking about, but it's just a sheer number of original characters we have now. It's hard to say what the exact plan is or what they are doing currently. So yeah, basically saying they understand, they know people want the Final Fantasy characters, but it's also hard to balance that with the original characters, which I guess I understand what he's trying to say, because you don't want the Final Fantasy characters overshadowed by the original characters, but you don't want the original characters of Kingdom Hearts overshadowed by the Final Fantasy characters. So I completely understand what he's saying here. And then Nomura finishes us off with yet more teasers. So the question was, do you want to give any final tease for the fans that they can look forward to? And Nomura basically said, with regards to KH4, there's not going to be any new information for a while, but if people really dive into this interview that we had today, I did reveal a little bit of new information and more details during this conversation, so it's great if people could consider that and find some new information on that way. So that's an open invitation to all of us to check this interview out and keep reading it. It would be pretty cool. So yeah, he also wants to talk about Missing Link. We're working on the launch of the closed beta this year. I know not everyone is into smartphones games, so some fans might not really be excited, but anyone can hop into it, and I think that's a very good approach. It's a lot closer to the series and is also connected in many ways to Kingdom Hearts 4 compared to its past mobile release, which was KH Union Cross. The easiest way to get more new information and hints about KH4 would be to first play Missing Link. There will also be some more mysteries, not related to Kingdom Hearts 4 specifically, but just to the entire series as a whole. Also, some figures that appear in Missing Link are tied to KH4. That's all I can really say right now. So, Missing Link is very much connected to KH4, but it's connected throughout the entire series. But there is like some special connections mainly to KH4. And Quadratum is like your base. Again, very interesting stuff. And also 2.8 has like an enemy that is already from KH4, so KH4 enemy is actually in 2.8, so we have to check that out. It's just overall interesting stuff, and the Final Fantasy stuff I completely agree with. So yeah, you guys read that interview. Let me know how you guys feel about it. Let me know in the comments how you thought, your thoughts and your comments on the article itself, the interview. And yeah, guys, I'm really happy with this interview because it's pretty interesting. But yeah, that is it for this video. Leave a like, helps me a lot. Comment down in the comment section down below what you guys think. Share with friends because sharing is caring. And most importantly, subscribe to become a fellow lightning bolt. Anyway guys, that is it for this video. And as always, this is the Lightning H8. Blaze